regardless of the results, because I understand in the international rate there's been some magnificent results. Congratulations to the likes of Ireland and I said to a few other teams who have confirmed themselves in the World Cup. A lot of big teams as well have done that. Maybe the most significant news in terms of the Premier League is this injury to Gabriel. So for those who are unaware, Gabriel was playing for Brazil against Senegal in a friendly earlier in the week. He limped out that game. He has now been ruled out of the next game. Brazil playing tomorrow night. They're going to Lille to play Tunisia after playing Senegal in Arsenal Stadium, actually at the Emirates. The report from Brazil said a scan revealed a muscle injury in Gabriel's right thigh. I'm reading from the Guardian here, who say Arsenal are concerned that he could be out for an extended period of time over this busy period. Almost certainly now, a doubt unlikely to face Tottenham at the weekend. I think if you'd have said, in terms of significant players in significant teams, an injury to someone which could affect their team, I think Erling Haaland would have been number one on this list. There's definitely an argument to say Gabriel, it might be second.
I think he is.
In terms of his status and what he means to Arsenal and their style of play in both boxes, what Gabriel means and the leadership and everything about him. This could be hugely significant. Again, at this time, we don't know how bad this thigh injury is. It could be weeks, it could be, we don't know. But that's a massive blow for Arsenal. This is a serious one.
Yeah, huge. It's certainly not insignificant. Whether you think it is the most impactful is a different conversation. It's funny,
for them?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? Certainly in and around it. It's funny, we had a conversation...
Do you remember Odegaard used to be that?
Well, we had 18 months ago, we had a conversation on this very show about who is the key to Arsenal, who can they not live without, essentially. And Odegaard was in it, Declan Rice was in it. But I think now, as we stand, it probably is Gabriel. And you said it there, Steve, really. Obviously, their defensive solidity is what their form is based upon. But it's him in the opponent's box is the biggest danger. Assists and goals. He's such a threat. So, yeah, I think it's a huge blow if he's got any prolonged spell ahead of him on the sidelines. And unfortunately, when I saw the news that he looks like he's set for a little spell of injury, I didn't get overly excited.
Because Liverpool aren't there to try.
We're not well placed. We're not in prime position to capitalise upon it. Exactly.
You should be feeling great right now.
We should have maybe led with this on the podcast. Were we not, trailing behind somewhat. So, yeah, listen, in terms of what it means for Arsenal, it's going to be a massive blow. Maybe it does give City even more of a glimmer if they needed it. It's certainly a chink in the armour for Arsenal. If he misses this spell in particular, because you touched upon the fixture congestion, I'm sure we spoke about Liverpool's fixtures earlier, this bit of time in particular, this next 6, 7, 8 weeks, whatever, this is the time you need all your key lads. You need them all fit and firing. So if they lose him, I don't think for 1 second it's going to derail completely and they're going to suddenly lose 3 out of 4, anything silly like that. But it might just mean it drops some points. Yeah. And as we know from past experience and muscle memory, as Arsenal now know, you can't afford to drop off against Man City. Not the juggernaut that is, certainly not with Erling Haaland. So, yeah, it's got scope to potentially have a damaging impact on Arsenal.
I saw a message on social media, again, people, it's a bit speculative, it was from a physio scout and just talking about different type of injuries to because it's meant to be like groin / adductor. I think Carlo Ancelotti mentioned the word adductor, and the general summation of the tweet is that the closer to your hip, the worse these injuries tend to be, as they're up. He said potentially somewhere, if it's grade 2, that's 3 to 6 weeks. If it's grade 3, that can be 6 to 8 weeks. Grade 1 is 1 to 3 weeks, and almost day to day. It feels like it might be worse than I don't know, Chloe. It's worth mentioning, I thought Mosquera, when he had to play a few weeks ago, was really, really good. Yeah. And they've got Hincapie, they've got tons of centre-backs, they all play at the same time.
Probably just put one in full-backs.
They've got loads of options, Arsenal, don't get me wrong. But he is the best of them.
Oh, yeah,
he's probably been the standout player, non-Erling Haaland in the league. Definitely probably the best defender in the league. These are the slight things that can derail title challenges. Again, we mentioned before, look at the type of form Erling Haaland's in and what City might be with him. How significant do you see this being in terms of... Let's say, for example, let's go down the middle and he misses 4 weeks. That's a lot of... We know how many games there is between that. That's effectively taking you up to Christmas. You're probably missing 7 games or so for Arsenal across competitions. To put that all on Mosquera after play, maybe in bed, the likes of Hincapie in.
Good player.
It feels like it could be significant, and it feels like it could cost Arsenal points.
Well, it's always going to be significant because of the level at which he is playing at. I mentioned on the other podcast, Arsenal do not concede enough chances. They don't even concede enough, close calls. They don't concede anything with Saliba and him as the two centre-halves. And I remember it wasn't long ago where we were sat here probably saying Saliba's the better of the two, and now I'm sat here saying Gabriel by far is the better of the two. And I think that goes to show how well they've done in getting those two centre-halves and growing them and developing them. It's a major blow for them because they're so defensively solid. And look, they've got enough centre-backs that they could still do that because Hincapie is a good level. And Mosquera, like you said, seeing him played well. It's nicking goals that might then become harder because they rely on set pieces a lot, and fair play to them because it feels like they are absolutely unstoppable at them. And when he is on the end of the majority of them, you take him out of that. Does the cog seem to work as well? Can Hincapie do that job? Or if you move Saliba to the front post, can they do that job? It's hard to say. So it could be a very significant injury for them. I read stuff that like they're hoping to get him back for Bayern, which would mean he'd just miss Spurs. So if that's the case, there's maybe one Premier League game there that City are hoping to kind of capitalise on. But if he's out for the next 4 weeks, with the amount of games that there is to play, with the fact that other players can get injuries, and Hincapie's only just came back as well, with the pressure now that Manchester City is behind them after them dropping points against Sunderland, and Sunderland kind of showing, I was happy when Sunderland did something against them because I thought, guys, like, there's your proof that you can get at them. They're not this, imperial. They're not Manchester City where you don't, of years ago, where you just didn't even show up because what's the point? That could be a significant injury, especially with the pressure put on them. However, it depends how long he's out for because they do have other good replacements in there and they've got good leaders, and you'd still expect them to have the mentality to be able to deal with that.
I suppose the fixture list I thought was relatively kind to Arsenal to start the season, Dan, and what tends to happen there is if it's been, listen, I understand they've had some good wins against good teams. They have played City, they have played Liverpool, I understand that, but around there they played a lot of the new promoted teams, etc. Their next run is Spurs at home, Derby. They tend to beat Spurs at home, but Spurs are a better proposition now, I think, especially on the road than they've been in recent years. Bayern at home, Chelsea away, Brentford at home, Villa away. Then they've got the Champions League in Bruges, they play Wolves, then they play Everton, and then they've got that Crystal Palace quarter-final. So that's their run up to Christmas, nail out. Actually, the hardest of these is the next week. Yeah. Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea away is no battle of laughs. And if they, again, I understand what we're saying, they've got good players, but I think he is a miss. And defensively, actually, I think they might be all right. It's actually the set piece stuff. He's unbelievable at those against good teams. I wonder how that changes Arsenal's dynamic, because they did have that little wobble against Sunderland. They were on top of the world, Arsenal. Then they had that wobble. Then City absolutely wiped the floor with Liverpool. And then your captain and your best player gets injured. That can be a slippery slope where you start thinking, yikes, you know what I mean? If things aren't going perfectly against Spurs or whatever, all of a sudden, it doesn't take long before that momentum can go the other way.
No, absolutely not. And if you extend it slightly further in terms of their next little run of games up until Christmas, it's quite top heavy in terms of the difficult ones come soon.
First,
you know what I mean? And after that, when they might expect to maybe have him back in a few weeks, it's kind of eases off a little bit. So it's not favourable, it's not kind. They are all tests, certainly the next 4 games you outlined there. So yeah, it's a problem for them, and you've kind of both alluded to it there. Like, I think defensively they might be able to mend and make do because they've got an abundance of centre-backs, haven't they? Calafiori exists. Yeah. Ben White, I know he predominantly plays at right back, but he is also a centre-back by trade. So they've got solutions potentially in there that they could get by with. I think actually the midfield solidity was Mendy, Rice, even Mikel Merino when he plays in there actually makes them so solid as a unit. You don't really get much joy against them anyway. So whilst Gabriel's a big part of how defensively strong they are, it is in the opponent's box. I don't think they've got anybody of the like that can replicate and emulate what he does up there. Like, he is an absolute freak in terms of set pieces. So I think it will be when the games are tight. We've seen it time and time again, haven't we? They could be drawing 1-1 with Brentford late on, and with Gabriel on the pitch, he's the one that pops up and gets him the winner. They might not have that to call upon. So if there is going to be a bit of a momentum swing or a bit of a point swing, whatever, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 games. I think a good chunk of it could well be down to his injury. And what I would say is on the sort of the severity and the length, I'd be amazed if he just missed the weekend. Like, if you've done something muscular, like a quad type injury, I would be shocked if it's a week long. It might well be, but it's pretty unheard of. Like,
Isak missed a month, didn't he?
Yeah,
roughly.
It would be a massive surprise to me. Again, it might be precautionary and it might be nothing, and that would be fine.
But something showed up on the scan, by the way.
If he's done something and there's a scan showing evidence that he's done something, a week feels very, very short.
How fuming are you if you're Arsenal? It's a friendly, for the love of God. I'd be furious.
It's
footy, isn't it?
It happens a little, so you are right.
Friendly.
Yeah, it's an
My
absolute
God.
Stinker. The flip on this, Chloe, a little bit as well, because again the gap is currently 4 points, isn't it, from Arsenal to Manchester City. Erling Haaland just continues to be this cyborg, and I was thinking the significance of Arsenal potentially losing their captain and their defender as Man City. Erling Haaland goes on international duty. He doesn't get injured. He scores 2 against Estonia. Then he scores 2 against Italy. Fires Norway to the first World Cup in a long time. When they come back, they go to Newcastle, which again won't be easy on Saturday night. But then City have a little run of Leeds, Fulham, Sunderland, where they'd be expecting to win. I think City could probably win all 4 of those if he's being in, because Newcastle aren't the Newcastle that we've seen for a while. Palace away might not be easy for them. Then they host West Ham, go to Forest, Sunderland. Like, the fixtures have been a little bit kind of maybe in this little early run. If there is a little slight Arsenal wobble, and again, one player doesn't make a wobble, but it can certainly impact things. And Haaland in this form, he's having the season of seasons, really. Like, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that 4-point gap is closed over the next 2 or 3 Premier League fixtures. Yeah,
and this is the problem. It's why you're annoyed that Liverpool aren't in and around those areas to try and apply pressure, because it's now where it gets hard. You feel like you play every 2 games. Players get injured, illness happens. It's not easy to play these games. You've got Champions League football in and around it constantly as well. So, yeah, Erling Haaland is an absolute joke. We talk about, it kind of just being robotic every corner for Gabriel to be there. Anything, Erling Haaland, a ball goes near him and it's just robotic, because you know what's going to happen. It's going to be in the back of the net. He's an absolute joke. And that's the key thing. If you can stop the supply to him, you might stand the chance. But also, I think Phil Foden's back in, playing well. Doku certainly played well the other day. They've got Reinders. City have got players on the pitch when Erling Haaland doesn't play well or doesn't put it in the back of the net. There's someone who they can become a hero for that day. So, yeah, it looks like it could be tough. It looks like a title battle could be on, which is not what I expected maybe 2 weeks ago, when Arsenal was 7 points clear. But football can change quickly, it can change rapidly, and who knows how that goes. What I would be saying is, maybe it might not derail Arsenal, but as a fan base inside that ground, you must think, like,
it doesn't help, does it?
Looking over your shoulder and you're without Gabriel, like, yeah, it can affect the mood. We all know that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it won't be, because I genuinely could not care less, because Liverpool aren't in, so I won't watch. But it'll be interesting to the neutral who care.
I think there's a world, Dan, again, and I think this might have happened anyway, where the gap closes. Again, we've said this 3 or 4 times. Arsenal are a quality team. They've got quality players. They're going to get a few of the forwards back. I think Martinelli, Gyökeres are due back anytime soon. And again, Nkapia, Mosquera, White, they've got loads of options. Timber can go centre. Whatever they choose to do. I just think, for your, like Chloe mentioned, for your best player, one of your best players, your captain, your talismanic leader, to get injured in a friendly, just before this massive run of fixtures, where
just after City also
just after you
closed the gap, there was a tiny swing in the title.
The manner with which they did it as well, if we're talking sort of psychologically, not just from the fans' point of view, but from a squad, from an Arteta perspective, the manner with which City have closed the gap. Let's be honest, I know it was inflicted upon us, but they swatted us aside, didn't they? I know we'll have conversations about sort of disallowed goals and whatever. They were absolutely, 10 times better than we were on the day. And that's daunting. That's concerning. And you look at the fixture list and you go, tricky little run for us. What are City up to? Oh, actually, they've got a relatively straightforward little spell here. In terms of key players, we just lost our talisman. How's City's getting on? Oh, he's scoring for fun. Like, just these things just start to pile up a little more in fans, I think it's fair to say, than players. Because you don't necessarily look at that.
That can be portrayed on the pitch. Like, first 10 minutes and you sense the opposition have had a big chance or, something like that, and you've not got Gabriel there. You think... There can just be, there's just a nervousness, and that does spread in the team. That does then start to spread in the team, because you're right. If you do concede that big opportunity, and you wonder whether Gabriel, or you concede early, literally a goal, you wonder whether Gabriel could have maybe stopped that from happening. You start to question yourself as a team a little bit. You're not quite as solid as you once were at the back. So again, Arsenal's success thus far this season has been built upon the strength at the back, and then nicking goals. Generally, they've played better football than that. That's a bit disrespectful, but still, nicking goals from set pieces, which again, Gabriel's been at the heart of. So, yeah, it's a problematic few weeks, and this is where champions are made. Let's have it right. Like, if Arsenal can get through this little spell, if he is missing for 2-3 weeks, but they win every single game, they'll look back on that and go, actually, that was the time whereby we're up against it. City are breathing down our neck, but yet still, we show what we're all about. If they don't, and they have the wobble that I think we're expecting, or maybe suggesting they might, City will capitalise on it.
Yeah, because City go first well this weekend, worth mentioning. They go to Newcastle on Saturday night, so Arsenal obviously play Sunday. If City, I expect City to beat Newcastle. This version of Newcastle are a bit all over the place. In the gaps of point. And all of a sudden, things can get a bit...
It's just bittersweet, isn't it? Because again, we should be...
Yeah, it's not, at this moment in time, it's not our conversation. Hopefully in one day it might be, and Liverpool can go on this run as well, but as it stands, it's not. If I said to you now, your house is on the line, Dan...
Oh God!
Who's top of the Premier League at Christmas? There's a 4-point gap now, but I've read out a few of the fixtures there. I've read out City's as well. The 4-point gap is the only thing I'm thinking maybe, but I think City are going to go on a run and win, and I'm not sure Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are going to win the next 2 Premier League games. I think they'll drop points against Spurs or Chelsea, and I think City will beat Newcastle. Maybe probably. I'm going to put it to you because I think I'm edging towards City, but the 4-point gap is the
it's a nice buffer to have, and it's a healthy buffer as well, given we're only talking about 6 Premier League games.
But it was 7.
It was 7, and in a blink of an eye, it's down to this. So, listen, half an hour ago before we started this show, I'd have sat here quite confidently with chest and said Arsenal will be top of the league, but I think we've convinced me into believing City will be top of the league at Christmas.
You've not convinced me it's Arsenal. I think it's Arsenal's title. I think they might struggle a little bit defensively, but I still think they've got enough quality.
I worry about them more in the other box. I don't think they're amazing attacking.
You just need Saka to put them on the back for a little bit.
How often? He's got one goal. Player, but how often have the other ones done that?
I get what you're saying. I just think teams can get at City more. So that Newcastle game, Newcastle might not be good, but I expect them to create chances against that City side.
They're games then, actually, aren't they? Neutral.
It was was it 3-2? What's the one with Rico Lewis?
Scored and assisted.
Rico Lewis scored an absolute worldie.
They tend to be good games.
So for me, the problem I have is I think Manchester City are brilliant, much better than us, and I think they're the closest rivals to Arsenal. But my point is, I still look at City and think people can get more joy against them than
I think City are going to win their next 3 or 4 Premier League games, and I'm not sure Arsenal.
I'd like to see it be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But
I want someone to just run away with it.
I think the significance we'll find again. Time will tell, but let us know in the comment section your thoughts. This Gabriel injury, what it means to the title race. Is it advantage City for that one? We'll find out. But let us know. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say on that one.
That was a clip from the Biased Football Podcast. To check out the whole show, head to redmenplus.com or click the link in the description.